In today's video, I'll be showing you how to use the UK Companies House to be able to find newly registered businesses in just a matter of seconds, and more than that, how you can then automatically find the directors or any other decision makers' names of the people that work at these newly registered companies, finding their LinkedIn profiles and email addresses, all in a matter of seconds using this tool called Clay together with the Companies House API. So if you want to check out how to do that, by all means, tune into this video and check out the guide, which will be linked right underneath. And this guide will walk you step by step through what we're about to build here. Now, the first thing that you need to do is go and make sure that you sign up for a free Companies House developer account. You can click on this link in the guide down below and it will take you to where you can just click sign up, and then you will be logged in to something that looks very similar to this developer hub, which is right in front of me right now. On top of that, you also obviously need to get a free Clay account. I do have my referral link here. If you do get a paid plan, it will give you 3,000 free Clay credits, which is probably like about $100, £100 worth of freebies with Clay. So if you're not familiar with Clay, then go check it out. I'll make sure to link another video above right now showing you how you can use Clay. Essentially, let's just get started. So the first step will be going inside of Clay and clicking on New Workbook. And this basically enables us to start completely from scratch with this entire flow. Just so we're on the same page, let's start off by clicking on Blank Table over here. This will create a completely new table for us where we can start preparing this spreadsheet looking thing for basically posting all of these newly registered companies. Just so we're on the same page, this is how it will basically work. We will input the date over here, and automatically, if I just show you here, for instance, let's say this is the date, we will just input the date, we will input the page number on Companies House, and straight away, as soon as we do that, we would see that this performs a HTTP API call, which you don't need to worry about for now because we'll go through this throughout the course of this video. It will pull us all the companies that have been registered on the day. So for example, Studio Fies Limited. And we will then use a second table inside of Clay, which is loading right now, to find all the company details, like the company name, whether it's a limited company or not, the active status. We can then find the names of the company directors using the Company House API as well, which will be pulled over here. And then after that, we can then use the AI enrichment called Clayagent to be able to find the website of these companies. And when we have the website of these companies alongside the full name of their director, a lot of the time we'll be able to find their email addresses. And if not, worst case, we can use AI to find the LinkedIn profiles of those people. So if you're unsure about how to do this, don't worry, I'll walk you through this from start to finish in this video. So let's get on with it. The first thing we need to do is obviously just label this so we don't forget what this is all about. So in this case, I'll just call this Companies House Template, and I'll call this Unlock Clay because that's the course that I run that teaches you how to use Clay from start to finish. The first thing that we need to do, if we look at the checklist, is open up a new Clay table and create 3 input fields. The first input field will be the date. So once again, similar to how you would do this inside of an Excel sheet, click on Add Column, just make it a text column, and let's just call this Input 1 Date. This will be the date that we need to input in order to see all the companies that were registered on a specific date. The second thing we need to do is put in a page number. Once again, if you're familiar with Companies House, it has basically a lot of new companies registered every day, and there are 20 companies per page. That's why we basically just need to put a page number to look up a specific tab in the Companies House registration. So we basically get 20 companies per API request. And here we'll just say input 2, it's just a page number, right? And for this one, it has to be, if you click over here, it has to be in a number. It can't be just a text file. So that's that. On top of that, input number 3 will be the page number times 20, because as I mentioned, there is some pagination on the Companies House page, which once again, don't worry about it. It doesn't really mean anything to you, but it's just important over here to have a third input, which will be input 3, page number times 20. And then on top of that, we will over here before the date, we will just have, I think it's just, this will be the formatted date, right? Formatted date. Let's just call this input 1, and we'll just call this the date. And I'll talk about what the difference between the formatted date and the normal date is. And essentially that means that we have 4 inputs that will trigger the finding of all the next steps. So let's get going on that. So up to this point, the only other thing that we need to make sure we do is for the date over here, I'm just going to look up the previous table to make sure that I'm not messing anything up on my side. I'm basically just going to input 29 days ago date over here. So the way I'll do that is, as you probably saw just now, I'll click on edit column. I'll click on the settings icon, click on formula, click on use AI, and say 29 days ago date. Let's let it load. This will just give us every company that was registered basically 29 days ago as an example, right? And then you could see this is the date over here. And then we would use this formatted date to do similar to what we've done over here, which is just basically saying extract this, so that if we click once again on formula, it will be extract the year, month, and date from this input date. This just makes sure that basically when we perform the API request, that we are requesting the date in the right format. So we should see it here. I know it's not going to make a difference now, but sometimes the date is inconsistent. And then page number, let's just put number 1, and then page number times 20. For this, we need to click on edit column, click on the settings icon, click on formula, click on use AI, and just say multiply. And then we'll say page number by 20, because we want to request 20 companies at a time, right? So let's check this out. Output is correct, say formula. So right now we can see that this is all good. And if we just go through this checklist, we've opened the Clay table. We've created 4 input fields. We've probably signed up for free Companies House developer accounts. We've probably got a free Clay account already. Now, as soon as you're inside of your developer account, if you click on the left-hand side, you will have manage applications. So let's just click on that briefly over here. And if you click on view all applications in the top left-hand corner, you would see over here all your different API keys. So what you can basically do is just click on create an application. This will create an application for a new API key. So let's just give it a quick name. I'll call this YouTube test Tim, just in case. And then we can just say that it's a test API, or let's say it's a live API key, and basically click on create over here. As soon as you do that, you would see over here that you've just created this new live application at the bottom, which is the YT test Tim account. You can click on it, and this application will basically be your API key, where you can click at the bottom to create the new key. Let's give it a couple of seconds. You can give this key a name. I'm just going to call this Tim Test 2. It has to be a REST API key. I don't know what REST means, but I just know it's the right button to click here, and then click on create key. So as soon as you got this far, you would notice at the bottom that you have this API key over here. And by the way, I'll be deleting it at the end of this video, so don't try copying and pasting it into your Clay table. But essentially, all you would need to do inside of Clay, as it says in this guide, is set up the HTTP API enrichment, which honestly is not rocket science. Just click on add enrichment, type in HTTP API, click on HTTP API, and then over here, click on manage accounts in the top right corner. And basically, this is where you click on add connection, and you can just call this test UK delete later, right? And over here for the key, you just have to type in authorization, and for the value, you copy and paste your API key from Companies House. After that, one mistake that I made there. Before the API key, you need to put in bearer, and it has to be spelled like this. I don't know why this is the thing that you need to put in for API keys. Don't ask me, I'm not the techie person here. But just do that. So you put bearer and then space and then the API key, then click on save, and you should see that the account has been successfully created with this API key. So then you can close this down. And now when you go inside of your Clay table, if you click on refresh, if you just reload the page inside of Clay, let's give it a couple of seconds. On the right hand side, you can click on add enrichment again, type in HTTP API, select HTTP API, and then if you click on this HTTP API headers account section, you would notice that somewhere here you have my gov UK delete later API key, right? Let's talk about what you would do next, because right now we're basically trying to connect it to the API key. So simply put, we've selected the HTTP API request enrichment. We need to make it a GET request with this endpoint. So what we'll do here is this method here will be GET. The endpoint, you just copy and paste directly from the guide, and the query parameters, you would click on add a new key and value pair, and you will just basically have 3 separate query parameters that you would add. So the first query parameter is the start index. The second query parameter is company status. And once again, all of this is just common sense. It's just like a copying and pasting game. So I assume you're pretty good at that. So let's just do that quickly. And then the company status will have to be active. The start index will select page number times 20. So you would just use the backslash to refer to the column, with the times 20 value, and incorporated from will be input to formatted date. So let's just have a look. Have we done all of that? We've added our Companies House API. We've added the authorization, and I believe we've completed this whole step 2. So right now, if we are actually as techy as we think we are, we need to click on save and run one row in this view. And assuming we've done this well, it should give us a status 200, which basically means, oops, let's see. So it says error, invalid authorization. Okay, I think maybe I just selected the wrong API key. I'll just select my other key. Let's just rerun it again. And I'll just rename this so that it's easier to understand. Step 1, look up newly registered UK companies, because that's what we're basically doing here. Now that we connected the right API, I chose the right API key, it gives status code 200. If we click on that, it will give you 20 items. All 20 items, as I showed you in the previous table, are just the businesses that have been registered. You have their registered office address, you have their company name, you have the company type, their company number, their company status, and that's basically that. So you have quite a few things about the company, and you have that across 20 different companies. Now, here is the thing. Inside of Clay, as you probably know by now, you can't just create 20 rows inside of this same table, so we need to move all of this data to another table. The way we'll do that is we'll rename this table to be table 1, look up newly registered companies, and then we'll click on save. And then at the same time, we will then click on add, blank table, and we'll basically create a second table where we can move all of this data to. So table 2 will be to research and personalize outreach to newly registered businesses, right? So this is where the magic happens now with this, because Clay can get somewhat complicated. And this is something that you may get confused with quite a lot of the time. Just click on status code 200, click on the items, take action on list, write each item to new row in other table. We'll select this table number 2, select the table. And by the way, if this was too fast, just watch the video in like 0.5 speed, because I know I can be a bit too fast, especially when I'm recording this before starting work at 8 in the morning. And then save and run one row in this view. So let's give it a couple of seconds. You should start seeing that over here. By the way, if you click on the header, click on rename column, you can actually type in the title. So to remind yourself what you're doing. So I'll say move all companies to table 2, and I'll put like 3 exclamation marks. And then by now, as soon as you go into table 2, I would hope that you have all of these companies in front of you. So let's just check this out. I'm just deleting the first row because it's always empty most of the time. And then voila, here we have, if we click on the row, you would have everything about the companies. So you can have the company name, you can click on add as a column, create column, you can have the company type. And by the way, this is not over yet. Like this is just, we're just getting started. We just got this data inside of, Clay. So the fun just begins just now. So yeah, don't worry about it. It should be really entertaining from this point onwards to just show you what we can actually do. And then we've got the date of creation over here as well. Great. So I'm just added a bunch of these things into the Clay table so it's visible for us. So we already have the company name, the date that it was created, the company status, and whether it's a limited company or not, or like whatever the company type is. So next, we've already tested the API call. That worked. So we can tick that off. We can tick step 2 off. We can tick step 1 off as well. And in the meantime, the next thing that we need to do is, well, we've already done step 4 by accident. Sorry, I'm not following this checklist. We've created the new table. And now it's time to find the company directors. Now, the way that we will find the company directors is as follows. The first thing we need to do is click on add enrichment again, type in HTTP API, click on HTTP API, and then obviously select your Gov API like key, which we already created before inside of Clay, and then copy and paste this endpoint, which is the endpoint that's basically in this guide over here. And then there will be quite a lot of query parameters. So the query parameters are as follows. The first, we just click on add a new key and value pair like a couple of times, and we can just copy and paste the field. We also need to copy and paste the start index. Then we need to copy and paste officer role. This officer role, if you're not looking for a director and you're looking for like some other decision makers of these company, like I don't know if it's some other sort of profiles working at the company, then you can probably do that as well. But you would need to check the API keys. Sorry, the API documentation for Companies House API. You can just ask ChatGPT, it will give you a pretty good summary. And then we'll just basically just do filter, will have to be active. Start index will be 0. What else? Officer role will be director. And then company number will be, well, the company number, of course. Don't really need to overthink this one. Company number over here. And then items per page will always be 100 because we want to see, I think, 100 companies or 100 decision makers. Okay, let me just see to make sure that everything is correct. Company number. Okay, perfect. Okay, right now we can just click on save and don't run. just so that basically this just gets saved, and then just click on the play button. This will test this API request. I expect it to give me an error right now, just giving you a heads up in case, so that you're not too worried here. But let's see. I'm just deleting the first row. So I believe the error at this point, if I just go into the previous clay table I've built, I believe the error could be because, let's see. Oh, because we forgot to put that it's a get request probably. Yeah, so for that, if you click on edit column and you change the method to be a get request, I assume we should be fine. So let's check this out. Let's play a couple of rows. Hopefully it doesn't give us some errors because it's quite depressing recording this at 8 in the morning and getting so many errors. So let's check this out. In the meantime, I'll just try and figure out what the challenge here is. So it will give you like kind of thing over here. So let's see. Oh, it's not all as bad as I thought. So what I've done wrong here is for the endpoint, when we copied and pasted the endpoint, we forgot to add the company number into the endpoint. So if we click on edit column now, at the bottom here, we should have put the company number over here in those brackets, like just over there. So let's just fetch the company number. And if we put this endpoint, including the company number after the company, we can then click on save and don't run. And I would like to bet now it should start working fine. So let's check this out for ourselves. Yes, status code 200. That's brilliant. That basically means the request worked. So just to remind ourselves, what we're doing here is we're trying to find the direct company directors. So I'll say step 1, find company director name. And then if we click on the status code and we click on items and we click on the 0, we will see the name over here. So we can click name. We also have on top of that the occupation. This person, for example, is a student. And then potentially in some companies, there will be more than one person there will be more than one name of company directors. So in this case, it's just one company director. In this case, though, if we click on the second company, if you type in name at the top, it comes up with 2 directors. So it's Malinowska Bridget and the second person as well. So I'll just call this company direct 2 name, and then I'll click on create column. And now for some of these companies, we would have names of 2 company directors. For some of them, we'll just have just one. So either way, I'll just call this company director 1, company director 2 name, right? And as you can see over here we have company director 1, and then over here we have company director 2. It looks about right, I believe. So as a next step, this is where it really is completely up to you what you would want to do. I would personally start with finding the company website of, what is the website of this newly registered company. For this, I'd use Clayagent. And for those of you that may not be aware, and this was my reminder to finish my video, for those of you that may not be aware, when you use the Clayagent enrichment, you can basically get AI to go and do all of the like manual boring research for you and just tell it what you want to see in front of your eyes after it does all of this like AI research and stuff for you. So I'm just going to say the following. I'm going to say the input is the company name and the company number. Based on that, find me the company's website URL and output just the website URL and nothing else. If you don't find a website, leave the output blank. And I'll say the company name. And then I don't know why I'm giving it the company number, but I think it could be useful. Maybe if it tries to, I don't know why, but let's just see if that works. So for this one, I'm just going to click on save and don't run. And I want to really play it out across 5 or 6 rows. So it just becomes quite like the sample size is a bit bigger, because obviously with newly registered businesses, you're unlikely to find every single one of them and every single one of their websites. But you can probably across like 5 companies, you would bet that, 1 or 2 of them have a website. So in this case, step 2, find website. This will take a couple of seconds to do. In the meantime, we can prompt Clayagent to search for the websites. We've basically done that. And on top of that, I'll just show you another cool thing that we can do. You can see it didn't find it, like most of them it probably wouldn't find right now. Another thing we could do is we could add the enrichment again, and we can type in Clayagent again. And if we click on it, we can say over here, if we click on configure, we can say, find me the LinkedIn profile of, and then we'll just input the name of company director 1, who is a director at company name. Output just a LinkedIn profile URL if you are over 80% confident, otherwise leave the output blank. And basically, in this case, I'm just going to change the response type. I'll just say LinkedIn profile URL, and I'll change this from text to URL format. I'm going to save and don't run. And let's just see, I know right now it's not the best example. I think we could probably change the prompts to find the website of the company. But once again, that's not, I think maybe newly registered businesses, like in hindsight, when I registered my businesses, I never had a website at that point. So no surprise there. If you're like a website development company and you're whatever, like you help companies create landing pages and websites, it's probably quite a nice niche to go down because you can see none of them have a website yet. So let's have a look. In the meantime, it's just going to find us some directors' LinkedIn URL. So we can see on the left over here, we got one response. Let's just click on it briefly. And it basically doesn't give us a LinkedIn profile URL because I think generally it's very hard to find LinkedIn profile URLs of some of these people. But once again, I don't think it's too depressing. I think it's just to do with the prompt, and I'll just tweak the prompt and basically I'll adjust the prompt here and I'll show you how that's done. But contrary to what I just said, over here, we have the LinkedIn profile URL of this person, for instance, that we just found. Let me just pull this up over here. So we found David Sivori, who is the director at Probrook Limited. Shout out to you, David, if you're watching this. But yeah, you can see over here managing direct. And once again, it's because a lot of these companies, as you can imagine, they don't really have LinkedIn profiles and they don't have a website at this point in time, but they do have their registered business address. Well, actually 2 people out of 7 have their LinkedIn profiles. So straight away, just for context, I wouldn't be talking about how to do this for the remainder of this video, but you could click on add enrichment and type in Enrich. And this way you can automatically send LinkedIn messages to those people, those companies, just saying, oh, congrats, or you just got incorporated or whatever it is. And you can send them automated LinkedIn messages. If you want to learn how to do that, make sure to check out the video, which I will link above right now. Alternatively, if you want to maybe personalize that message first, you could use this Twain enrichment. So you will just generate a lot of research on the company and on the person. And based on that, you can send like really, really personalized outreach to them. Once again, if you want to check that, know how to do that, just check this video out that I'm going to link above right now. And then finally, if you're not bored just yet, and if you want to maybe send them like linked emails automatically directly from Clay, and this will flow completely from start to finish, you can use SmartLead. And once again, I'll make sure to link the video on SmartLead above right now as well, so you can check it out for yourself. But in the meantime, let's just recap what we've done in this video. Right now, all you need to do whenever you want to do it is to just type in a date. So for example, here, I didn't even type in a date. I just clicked on new row. And all of a sudden, and just change the page number. So over here, you can see I've just changed the page number to 2, and this just runs automatically. So let me just do this again. So let's say you change that, you put in 3 as the page number. It automatically finds you the 60 companies that were registered on this random date. And of course, you can adjust the date. It pushes them into the second table, which is absolutely mental. And you can see all of those companies. There are 80 companies here now. It finds all of their directors' names automatically. And I'm going to pause this for the time being because it's going to cost me a lot of Clay credits to run through this, but it finds the websites of these companies, finds me the LinkedIn profiles, and more than that, before I know it, it could actually completely do all the outreach for me in separate enrichments later down the line as well. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Make sure to comment something nice down below. Make sure to like this video as well, subscribe to the channel, and above all, if you can't be bothered or you get confused throughout the setup of this entire flow, then you're the perfect customer for our agency, which is called B2B Boosted. So if you want to take us up on this, we can get you up and running with this probably within a week or so, depending on all your custom requirements of what the data points are that you want to collect on the company directors. We can even like probably post things to those people, because I remember when I registered my business, I had like a little accountants, like a bunch of letters from accountants and that kind of thing. We could probably even do that on top of all of this fun stuff that we can provide you with here, including LinkedIn profiles, email addresses, phone numbers, probably of all of these company directors and so on. So if you want to take me up on that, do let me know. But if you do want to learn how to do it yourself, then by all means, the chances are you need to glue all of this knowledge together of how to use Clay. And for that, there is no better course than Unlock Clay. It's got over 400 students right now that are all delighted to be a part of this Clay community. And you basically will learn how to use Clay from start to finish in under 5 hours. You'll be certified by the end of it as well. And if you want to do some toilet reading later on today and you're running out of like things to read about, you can just go and read some of the testimonials here and just scroll through them. There are over 100 of them. So yeah, you can always click on the click load to see even more proof here with all the screenshots and so on. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video, and I'll make sure to loop a video after this to show you how to use Clay and what Clay actually is, just so that maybe you prepare yourself for learning it going forward. Right, have a good one. And by the way, one final thing as well, I will make sure to add this company's house template into Unlock Clay, so that as soon as you join us inside Unlock Clay, we can basically just share this with you over there. And yeah, you can just basically copy and paste this Clay table into your own workspace without spending hours of endless trial and error trying to set it up from scratch. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Hope you enjoyed this one. Cheers.